There has been so many theories on why Blade, Wonder Man, and Ironheart didn't move forward. And a lot of people are accusing Marvel and Kevin Feige with not wanting those projects to move forward. I've heard a lot of other theories as well, but one person that never comes up when these theories are talked about is Nate Moore. Now, let me explain. So 3 projects, 3 quiet deaths, and no one mentions why the possibility is the connective tissue between many of the projects that were pushed through at Marvel had Nate Moore at the center of it. So who is Nate Moore and why does he matter? Nate Moore joined Marvel Studios in 2010 at the early beginnings of the MCU. I mean, this was around the time when Iron Man, Iron Man 2, and Incredible Hulk were already out. He then rose up the ranks at Marvel Studios to become Executive Vice President of Production and Development. And effectively, he became one of Kevin Feige's top lieutenants in a 14-year time span. His production credits include Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Black Panther, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Eternals. He even helped create the original screenplay for Guardians of the Galaxy. And in December of 2024, Variety announced that he was leaving the company after 14 years. Now, he didn't leave immediately. He stayed on through the release of Captain America Brave New World, and that was released in February 2025. And he officially departed on March 2025. Now, he's still going to be a producer on Black Panther 3. Now, he wasn't just a mid-level producer at Marvel. He was, in my opinion, the connective tissue displaying the Black experience in a Marvel lens. And I believe he helped shape or helped translate that direction to Kevin Feige. Now let's talk about how these situations connect and how I believe Nate Moore's departure has something to do with these projects and their cancellations. Now, Nate Moore's departure was announced in 2024, late 2024. Around October was when Blade was actually removed from Marvel's schedule. Now, Ironheart premiered in 2025, and Wonder Man, as you know, premiered this year in 2026. Ironheart was already shot around a certain time, and it didn't come out until later, which probably was like a 2-year time frame in between it actually coming out. And then July of this year, between July and August, we knew Blade was officially dead and won't be coming out with Mahershala Ali. Do these dates correlate as far as Nate Moore leaving and these products of Marvel coming out but ultimately not continuing in TV form? Now, I want to step back a bit because there's a lot of talk about, again, why these projects weren't able to continue. And I think there's been a lot of conversations about Kevin Feige and Marvel not wanting to continue these stories. And I personally don't believe that, because these stories have shown to be very profitable, specifically in the box office. We also have to take something else in account. Marvel and Disney, I would say Disney more so. Disney announced that they would be focusing more on quality versus quantity, especially after certain TV shows didn't do as well as they planned on doing. Now, let's talk about Wonder Man and the numbers that was connected to its viewership. According to data from Luminate, Wonder Man was the second most viewed Disney Plus show in the first quarter of 2026 by both minutes streamed and estimated views. And I said show, and I actually meant original season. So it was the second most watched original season on Disney Plus. It was actually one of the cheapest Marvel TV shows to film because the budget was around reportedly $7 million to $10 million per episode, estimating at around 58 to 80 million total versus something like 200 million for Secret Invasion. Now, apparently Disney has some kind of formula where they use a ratio from the cost of how much something is produced and the ratio of how many minutes is streamed. And apparently it was just shy of their goal of what they deem something as a success. So on the front line, it was technically a success, but not successful enough to continue. Now, I would argue that Disney already had a plan of doing less shows. So this not continuing as a show isn't surprising to me, to be honest with you. Obviously, we've seen this with The Mandalorian. They would rather put something out in the movie theaters that could actually be a show and spend that 200 million or 100 million in something that could be in the box office. And it looks like to me, Disney is switching from a new model from their old model. It's apparent that they want to release less films, less TV shows, but on top of the less films, they want to make sure that the films are impactful as much as they possibly can. So given these changes, even if Nate Moore stayed with Marvel, there's a strong possibility that some of these movies couldn't have moved on. I think for exception of Blade. Let's talk about that for a second. It was reported that a lot of the costumes from Sinners were from specs from a upcoming potential Blade movie. This points to me that Blade was going to be set in the past, like in the 1920s or whatever the case may be. Kevin Feige has already personally said that it was his fault that this movie didn't move forward. He's taken responsibility of it. But I think what's happening is that there were, and it was reported that there were conflicts with how the story would go. Now, there was a rumor that Mahershala Ali didn't want Blade connected to the MCU and current saga that's about to actually take place with the Doomsday Saga, which prior to was the Kang Dynasty. Now, this is where I think Nate Moore would have been able to be the connective tissue to relay the information that Mahershala's team and Mahershala wanted to actually do as far as his vision of Blade was, and connect it to what Kevin Feige's vision was. Since he was, if you look at the projects that he was involved in my opinion, seemed as if he was the person that connected cultures, which allowed Kevin Feige to see a vision that wouldn't have been sought after unless there's a common, I don't know if you get, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he was the connective tissue that would have helped get this movie specifically off the ground. Now, would have been able to save Ironheart and Wonder Man? I doubt it. But there's a strong possibility he could have made sure that those characters were integrated into future movies. Now, I'm still happy that Nate Moore is involved with Black Panther 3 and the development of it and being a producer. Obviously, Ryan Coogler is going to crush it. Every Black Panther movie has been great, and Black Panther 2, given the circumstances, was also great, in my opinion. I believe that Kevin Feige and Marvel wanted to continue these projects, but because of Disney's pivot, weren't able to make that happen. And I feel like Blade is in a kind of unique situation because there weren't creative differences that we know of within the Ironheart series and the Wonder Man series. Now, again, I don't have any inside information. I don't know. I'm just basically using facts from news stories and just laying out what I believe is the reason why, or some of the reason why, these projects haven't been connecting. A perfect example too is Sean Levy and the new Daredevil movie. That got greenlit super quick, and I'm sure it was probably I wouldn't say I'm sure. I would say that there's a possibility that it was a perfect kind of swap out for Blade not coming out, because timing wise, it looks like maybe they are a ball with having it connect with the current MCU and where the MCU is going. And again, I think if it is true that Mahershala Ali did not want it connected to the MCU, I know for sure Kevin Feige would have not wanted, that to happen because of how it is in the MCU. I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, then that means that would have been probably a non-starter for the entire project. And again, we don't know. We're just making assumptions here because we don't know. But I don't believe that Marvel didn't want Blade to happen, because Blade would have made $1 billion at the box office. I'm sure. I am 100% sure. So again, I don't think that was the case. I think that it was that connective tissue that would have been able to align the projects to get everyone on board. And I feel like Nate was that tissue, that connective tissue to get projects forward that connected culture to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, that's just my thoughts. What do you think? What do you think is the reason? Let me know in the comments. If you don't know, my name is Vince. I do commentary like this. I used to do it mostly on our company page, but now I'm doing it on my personal page. I'm doing personal commentary, stuff that I care about. We're doing a bunch of side quests. If you check my page, you'll see what I'm saying. But with this channel, I'm going to do more commentary like this. I'm going to be doing live streams as well. So I want you to check out these videos if you want to actually check out what more the channel offers like this. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.